We all want a better, more fulfilling, and thriving life. So this podcast is documentation of our journey towards striving and reaching these goals.
We're here to have fun, to experience, to adapt, to embrace change, and to rediscover who we are because we get to decide.
And though self-discovery will look different for each individual, our mission here at the Soul BBQ Tribe is to share some ways that we found have worked for us.
Here we engage in open dialogue conversations that provide tools and insights designed to better assist personal growth on various levels in a variety of ways.
It's time to kick back. You're invited to the barbecue. Soul BBQ, a conscious kickback. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Soul BBQ.
Hey, y'all, conscious kickback.
We're your hosts. I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Steven. Where am I looking? Okay, there we go.
You don't gotta make eye contact. Look at me.
I know a video is so different, right?
It
is.
is.
As a former celeb YouTuber, it's just you got to make sure you have that connection every once in a while. So I just try to keep it situated.
Give him the subtle gaze every now and then. Is
Hello.
that what you're trying to do?
And for those listening on audio, we are just, mixing things up, trying to incorporate a little more video for y'all. We've been hearing your feedback. I know you want some visuals, and we're here for you.
We are. And, it's been a few years now that we've been doing this podcast. And I think just like we want to glow up in our lives, we want to also glow up with the things that we're doing and the things that we're passionate about, and to continue to create quality content for all of you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's dive in. Oh my gosh.
Baby. Let's dive.
Let's dive in. It's been a little minute, but let's maybe do something spicy at the, to just kind of introduce this episode. Maybe try something different if you're up for that, Steven. I don't know how you feel about it.
Oh, I'm always down for different, baby. Okay. Always ready.
Are you a trisexual?
Yes. I was like, wait, what are we talking about for a second? Okay.
When you try anything once?
I will try most things once. You know what I mean?
What are things that you wouldn't try?
Certain things you don't need to try to know you're not about to be with. I don't need to be.
I'm waiting for the answer.
There are maybe certain substances, certain locations I don't need to go, no shade to I don't know, Oklahoma or Idaho or nothing like that. I'm sure y'all got y'all great moments, but for me, I don't really need to try it.
Don't sleep on Idaho. Don't sleep on Idaho.
You're right.
Boise.
You're right. I forgot about Boise. I actually really like Boise. So disregard that part. Let me think about maybe more like South Dakota. We'll put South Dakota, North Dakota, the cold ass places.
So the Dakotas are off. You don't want to go to Mount Rushmore?
I'm good. What is that? The one with people's faces on it?
That's all. But it's just carved into a mountain or something like that.
I am so good. I could see that outside. You know what I mean? We are sufficient.
Gotcha.
But anyway, so you mentioned about trying things out. All right. So
I wanted to maybe let's introduce a new little segment, I guess, that we can give the people something spicy with these episodes. Feels like we're kind of moving into a lot more relationship talk or dating talk and love and all of these things. And also, I just feel like everyone's trying to just figure it out now, right?
Yeah.
It feels like relationships are harder to get into than they've ever been. And it's what is the disconnect between the common human and love? So I just wanted to ask you a question today, and probably each time we do a podcast episode, but for this iteration, I'm was thinking about, we've done an episode on infidelity and things like that. So,
Right.
do you feel like a person should tell their partner if they cheat? Like if they are in a relationship and they cheat on their partner, should they be honest about that and tell them?
Hmm. Yikes. Okay. Um, from personal experience,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I would say case by case. And here's why. Because what were the circumstances around that cheating? You know what I mean? Were they
Mm-hmm.
cheating before? So then you kind of got like a quote unquote hall pass, right? Or were you just out there doing your own thing
Mm-hmm.
and
So
was
were they cheating before? Are you saying that if the other person cheats, then you got a free cheat pass?
if that's what y'all agree to, that's what you feel.
Okay, okay. So there's some terms of engagement that
Yeah.
maybe need. Okay.
Because sometimes if you're with someone and they find out that you're cheating, that
Mm-hmm.
will end the relationship. But other times
Yeah.
you might find out that someone cheated and you're like, okay, we're gonna get through this. But
Yeah.
maybe your way of getting through that would be to
Get
also
through
find a
somebody
cheat.
else. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Slide through another situation to make sure everybody's on even ground, so to speak.
Mm.
Sounds a little toxic to me,
So
but
it
do you?
sounds more than a little toxic to me because if that's already the mindset you have, like, oh, you cheated, so I'm a cheat, and then we're going to be even, it's like, oh, so you're doing tit for tat. Have you ever heard like eye for an eye makes everybody blind?
True.
You
Hello.
know? So that's interesting, but I will give respect to your depends because it does depend on maybe things that they've talked about before. I've met people that sometimes have said if their partner's cheated on them, they don't even want to know. Like there's people
Really?
that don't want to know. There's people that don't want to know.
Ignorance is
Be
bliss kind of thing.
exactly. They just don't want to know. They're like, what's the point of them telling me? Like, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. And yeah, I've met those type of
Yikes.
people. Mm-hmm.
I mean, but how do you feel? Like, would you let a partner know if you were cheated on them?
If I cheated on well, okay, this big age, right? We're not considering things past. At this big age though, yeah. If I cheated on a partner, like for real, cheated on them, I would let them know. I think like there are some conversations that need to happen, like you were saying, because you need to understand what cheating even is with that person, right?
Right.
So every relationship dynamic is going to be different. So having those conversations early on to define what the two of you feel like cheating would be and the things that you would want to know. And what I mean by that two is like everyone flirts. I don't care what no one says at all. We are all flirts. Everyone flirts. Sometimes you like attention, like it happens. So if someone's telling me they never flirt, I'm like, you're full of shit. You know what I mean? So, but to some people, a certain level of flirting or engaging, even just with conversation, they can see that as being, sneaky
Cheating.
or whatever, or
Yeah.
some form of cheating. Yeah.
Right.
Um, so it depends on what you agreed on. I will say that to you. But let's just go all the way to you had sex with someone else. If I had sex with someone else and never talked to my partner about it, wasn't open in an open relationship or anything like that, I would tell them because I also feel like it's a safety thing. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what if you cheated and that other person has something and now you got it and you accidentally gave it to your partner. You know what I mean? Or there's some type of other safety dynamic when it comes to drama.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are wild and maybe this person becomes obsessed with you and then all these I'm sure you've seen or two
Ooh.
of them Lifetime movies. We all have.
Yeah, or have been in one through
Okay.
my life. Yes, where you
Yes.
you doing a threesome and one of them falls in love with you. You're supposed to be just a side piece, and now they want to make one of you the main piece. The other one don't want nothing to do with you. So I've been there.
A little
So
different, but feelings are relevant. I would agree.
right, just saying, you can get caught up in those emotions.
Yeah.
They can come when you
Yeah.
least expect it. Yeah. Wow.
Absolutely. So that would just be my take on
No,
it.
I definitely agree. Like in the event that you had to talk to someone or tell your partner that you cheated, it would definitely be smart about the STD route for sure.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Or
Yeah.
you can just be like me and just maybe like
No.
get tested on your
Why
own.
could that be the end of your See,
Okay,
I knew you was gonna pull up with some other
disregard.
shit.
No, I'm not saying nothing else. Y'all
What
let
was
y'all
you gonna
figure that out.
say? Go get a test, and if you good, there's nothing to be said.
Boom. You got it. You got it. Because no harm, no foul, especially if you're not about to do it again. You learn your lesson. You were scared. You're like, oh shit. I had to get
Mm,
tested. I'm worried. Oh, but it was a false alarm. Let me do better. That was my karma, that fear. You know what I mean? So that's my logic.
wow. But
Anywho,
do you feel okay? One more question, then we can move on. Do you feel like that person, they didn't get caught, they didn't get anything? Like, do you feel like they're really gonna learn a lesson, or are they more than likely gonna just cheat again?
I mean, if it's me, I'm always growing and learning and being a better person. So if anyone's like that, then they
Yeah.
could learn, but most people probably would just cheat again, you know?
I think most people would cheat again if they got away with it. There's nothing that happened. Like they might just cheat again. So varies case by case, but something to think about.
What they don't know won't hurt them, they say.
And that's what
Unless
I've
unless it's an STD.
exactly. Or somebody rolls up to your house and is trying to be crazy, or yeah. Mm-mm.
Yeah, you're right, you're
You
right.
got to be careful. People are wild. And I think like there's so much happening in other aspects of the world. People are having a hard time with jobs and family and world events and like all of these things. And it's like, and then this too, like I think that some people are at the end of their rope. So you got to be careful. Like I've seen the way people are drive should be telling enough.
Yeah.
The way people be on these roads and the way they get mad when you go into another lane or whatever, I'm
Hmm.
just like, okay, y'all are having a tough time. So,
Yeah, I feel like there's just a lot going on emotionally and
yeah.
psychologically in the world collective,
Mm-hmm.
and I just feel a lot of us are just tired of so much bullshit. We're just tired of a lot of, I don't know, I guess all of the woes of modern society.
Right. Yeah.
And what I mean by that
Okay.
is,
And to further expound upon.
yeah, right. No,
Right.
what I mean by that is like, okay, so we just went through the whole holiday season, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many times do people feel like depressed about that, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like it's so I think it's so common, but it's very strange too, because I feel like it's a depression that people don't truly talk about. And they also are not as like open about it because of the dynamic of you should be joyful, you should be this way during this season. And the facts are depression goes up for a lot of
Mm-hmm.
reasons during that time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hell, I remember about 10 years ago, I had a manager around the holiday time. They had removed themselves from this planet
Oh
just
no.
from their
Yeah.
depression. So I didn't mean to make this about depression, but it's just like there's something in the psychology, I feel
Mm-hmm.
like, around those times and just even now, especially more just after everything was going on in 2020, that
Mm-hmm.
people they're at a different stage energetically. There's a lot that was okay back in the day that's just not okay now,
Yeah.
and people are a lot more vocal about it.
Very
And
true.
there's a lot of different dynamics that go on, like kind of what we were talking about with dating.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just there's a lot to unravel.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there is. There
with
is.
with all that being said, I wanted to ask you,
What's
what is
up?
something that will be unraveling today?
Oh.
You see, you didn't know where I was going with that
I
answer,
didn't. I
but
was like, I'm following. I'm here. I'm here. So I mean, kind of moving on from that because you were just talking about the holidays, December, I kind of feel like we're now, well, we're now in 2024, and I kind of feel like this year has started off with a bang, you
Yeah.
know? I mean, we're still in January, and I think that there's been so many notable stories coming out, different things happening. Um,
Oh,
so I
true.
just kind of wanted to relax with you a little bit and kiki maybe a little bit and just talk through
Yeah.
some of these things. But the first thing that I was thinking about is literally how the year started. Like January 1st, there was this really powerful earthquake that happened in Japan. And I
Mm.
think it was like a 7 or 7.6 or something like that. That's pretty
Yeah.
big. Like that's
High on
up
the
there.
Richter scale, I think.
There you go.
There we
Let
go.
them,
Is that right?
okay,
Okay. All right, let me be
okay,
confident that yeah, it's a little
okay.
high on that Richter scale, baby.
We in
Yeah.
science class today.
Welcome.
It is. It is. And like I saw videos of the roads just kind of like waving so easily and like just different things that was happening. But
Mm.
right around the same time, there was all of these different waves that were coming into shore in like California. I just saw another video that was somewhere else. And so I just feel like, you know, you were talking about how the pandemic just ignited something different and people are communicating different boundaries. I think we're feeling that with Earth. Like, I feel
Mm.
like Mother Earth is kind of just exhaling again and trying to level from just so many, you know, decades and centuries of people acting a fool here. So I'm sure that's not the end of what we're going to see.
Right. Okay. So you felt like the Japanese hurricane situation was basically a
Earthquake,
reflection of what did I say?
hurricane.
Oh, my bad.
It's
Thank
okay.
you. Okay, so you felt like the Japanese earthquake
Mm-hmm.
was a reflection of Mother Earth or Gaia
Yeah,
kind of taking out some pent-up energy and releasing it a little bit, if you will.
absolutely. The when you think about things on a spiritual level, if you want to get there, right, it's just
Soul
kind of
barbecue.
like it is soul barbecue. I mean, even we have our dreams, you know, you kind of have something happen in the dream and you interpret from there. I feel like the weather is so emotional and dynamic.
Hmm.
And I do feel like, obviously, if that's happening, if we see a earthquake on the surface, then that means underneath there are so many other things going on there that we just can't see, right? We're only
Mm.
at the top of it. Just like when you think about that iceberg and you see the iceberg at the very top on top of the water, but
Yeah,
on the bottom, it's massive. It's so much more than what, you know, the human eye can see. I feel like it's the same thing for Mother Earth for sure. So,
I agree. We all heard about grounding, going outside, maybe putting your feet with
mm-hmm.
earth and the ground and
Yep.
getting all that process. So earth is always pulling in that negative energy
Yeah.
and cleansing it. And so where does it go?
Yep.
It doesn't just disappear. So of course, after absorbing, I guess, so many whatever
Yep.
XYZ amounts, it has to release. So
For sure. But that's not the only thing that, you know, happened in January.
you're
I
right.
had, you know, there were some other really
There was
wild things.
a lot of what was it? Memes going on
Yeah.
for some particular interviews.
Uh-huh. Who are you
Um
thinking about?
I'm thinking about the interview with Mr. Cat.
Abs. Ooh.
Katt
Who was
Williams.
formerly Cat in the Hat. I never knew that. Did you
I didn't
ever?
know that
I
either.
didn't
That
know
was
that.
like, whoa, interesting. And then
Yeah.
somebody tried to do copyright the
Yeah, I don't know if it was Dr. Seuss, like
Oh,
in
yeah, who
it, the
or
like the
Disney
company
or I'm
from
not sure.
behind it or
Yeah.
who did it, but I guess they had him like cease and desist from using Cat in the Hat name. So that was an interesting thing. Learn something new every day. But that interview on what is it called? Club Shay Shay?
Yeah.
Wow. He was ready. I think they were what 5 minutes in and they were already talking about, dang, we about to get canceled for this episode.
Right. Yeah, I think at this point pretty much everyone has seen it. It's been
Yeah.
viral. I think in the first week it was over 180 million views on
Mm-hmm.
YouTube. So I'm sure it's way more
Way
now,
past
but
there now. What's something that maybe what's something from the episode that surprised you? Like, were you surprised by any of the other things he said? Was there any moments where you were like, wow?
I mean, as far as like um I guess the revelation of maybe some of the darker insights behind Hollywood and maybe what
Mm-hmm.
people got to do to get to certain levels. I
Yeah,
found that pretty intriguing. I mean, I don't it wasn't like new to me, but I loved how he kind of mapped out like pretty much receipts and
right,
gave details on, okay, so when this happens, this is what you got to do to get that reward.
right.
And you got to talk to this person. I liked how he gave examples,
Yeah.
and I actually have a video in our resources part or
Hmm.
description, however I forgot how to word it,
Resources.
resources, where actually there is a YouTuber who pretty much takes the interview, and every time Kat references something or a claim, she puts a clip of that receipt in. So if he's like, well,
Mm.
Kevin Hart said XYZ, she'll
Mm-hmm.
put that clip on the interview of when, Kat is referencing that. So
Nice.
he's basically just backing him up, making sure if he's saying something, there's some kind of proof. So I thought it was
Yeah.
cool. So y'all can look at that if y'all care. Um, I I don't know. Did that interview for you? Did it make you look or approach just the entertainment industry or Hollywood in a different way than you were before?
No. No, and I think that that's mainly because, I feel like we've both already been kind of skeptical, not skeptical, but maybe questioning how the elite or whatever operates.
Mm,
And,
right.
I feel like I figured out years ago that in order to get to a certain level, there are things you need to do, right? Like there's
Yeah,
gonna be initiations or hazing or whatever you want to call it, or sacrifices and all of these things that's gonna happen for you to get to the level that you want to get to. And most people want to be a star. So there's
yeah.
gonna be things that you have to do, like I was saying. But
Yep.
I
Dixie gotta
feel like
suck. Oh,
Dixie, yep.
Dixie gotta
Mm-hmm.
suck. People you
Yep.
gotta bend over for. We adult here. We keeping it blunt, baby.
Yeah. And it seems like because you've heard of humiliation rituals,
Oh
haven't you?
yeah, absolutely.
So I feel like, when he was talking about Kevin Hart and how Kevin Hart had to do some of those things in order to get to where he was, and all of the desire to put like men in dresses a lot of times, like a
Mm-hmm.
lot of these things that are happening, they're a part of those humiliation rituals that you need to do, and it needs to be in that public eye in order for it to kind of like count. So there are some things you can do in private, but they need you to do a certain percent of those in public so everyone can see.
Exactly. And I feel like with this podcast, if y'all have seen some of our or listened to some of our older episodes, we've pretty much made our stance on Hollywood or certain celebrities pretty much known.
Hmm.
Like for me, I think I've personally said on the podcast that a lot of these celebrities are pretty much just puppets. They
Oh
are
yeah.
working for other people to push whatever agenda needs to be pushed to
Yeah.
do whatever to whatever.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah.
really appreciated that interview with Kat. Obviously, the details of the drama, I mean, that was enticing entertainment and cool. But on a deeper level, he's pretty much just co-signing what we were saying as far as how Hollywood isn't as glamorous as they want you to seem. But
Right.
he was just shedding light that you really don't know who these people are. You can't trust people
Yeah.
just off of face value. You have to look at their actions. You got to look at do their do their values hold
Hmm.
when there's a test that comes up.
Yeah. Do you feel like this interview from Kat, things that happened with Diddy, last year, like, do you feel like, do you having more knowledge for the population, do you feel like maybe we will stop idolizing celebrities at all?
I think I think so. I think people are starting to wise up that hey, celebrities are just people with jobs too. Yeah, their jobs give them a lot of publicity, but just like politicians, like
Mm,
you know what I mean, they all have a boss.
they do.
And you know, they got to do what they feel like is best for them to provide for their family.
Mhm.
And a lot of those things we may or may not agree with, but at the end of the day, they're people and they're not someone to be worshipped or idolized in the huge degree that we do it. I mean, of course, I love people's artistry. I love people's talents. I love the work that they do.
Right.
But am I going to ride for somebody that I've never met?
Exactly.
I don't know.
Exactly. I think that there's a lot of that going on with
Excuse me.
Beehive and the Barbs, which I don't know if you saw this beef going on with Nicki Minaj
And
and
Megan,
Megan the Stallion.
I heard about that like literally last night, but I forgot to look it up because I was like, who? Like, what's going on? What's
So I don't know exactly how it started with them. I don't know exactly how it started, but what I do know is that Megan released that track Hiss. She just released it this week. It's called
okay?
Hiss, so you would have to listen to it. But I feel like, she's referencing certain things in the song that were clearly about Nicki Minaj. One of them being a law called Megan's Law. And Megan's Law is it basically was the thing that made it to where if you have done any type of like sexual offenses, that you have to be registered as a sex offender, right? And so she's calling out
Mhm.
Nicki Minaj's husband. And so there were some other things she says in the song, but that one particularly stood out. So then Nicki Minaj went on live and basically lost her mind. And
I
she's
heard that.
have you
Yeah, I
seen?
have not.
Okay.
When you say lost her mind, like, do you mean like she was just being erratic?
It was erratic, very erratic. It seemed like she couldn't, she was just like, first of all, she was talking about how Megan Thee Stallion got shot. And she's like, fragment foot, bitch. She's like, get on your good foot, bitch. Like she was like going off. And then she was like,
Wow.
but then she made me upset because she started talking. She kept repeating, what did she say? Your dead mother or something like that. And she kept saying it over and over and over. And I'm like, okay, you don't come for people's like dead family members. That's
Yeah,
that's that's too much. So
unnecessary.
yeah, and she was just going off and off and off. And then I think she went to her page and was commenting all these things, but she was really saying it a lot, like get on your good foot, bitch. Like, and I was like, that's so. It's just the reason why it's comical is because Nicki Minaj is what, 40 something?
Right.
Probably 40 or
37 or
is
no,
she?
she ain't that
I
young.
thought
I
she
don't
was
know.
40, but either way, she's acting very like 16 right now, maybe 19. It's very strange to see how much she's just super bothered, which is interesting because years ago they did a song, Hot Girl Summer. Didn't they do Hot Girl Summer?
Yeah, they did something together. They've
They
been
definitely did a song together that Nicki Minaj was either in or in a remix.
yeah.
So I think something has happened over these years to where they're not cool anymore. Could it be Megan's like friendship with Cardi? I don't know. But I just think that this whole thing is wild to see more and more celebrities showing their true selves now.
Yeah. I think right now in 2024 and even like in the year before, but I just think going forward is going to be more prevalent,
Hmm.
is this is the year or this is the time where people they're tired of the bullshit. They want the
For
authenticity,
sure. Yeah.
they want that truth, and they
Yeah.
are gonna be seeing through the bullshit. And
Yeah.
then it's a place where if you're doing shit on the side, on the low, in the dark, that
Yep.
light's gonna be lit up on that in some regard.
It
Ooh, I
is.
sounded real country there. That whole
If you're doing bullshit, then
they gonna find out, baby.
that's okay. Be proud of where you come from.
uh, but I appreciate standing on like having no
Business. Oh,
accent,
okay.
but
I was like
um,
standing on.
standing on professionalism, which means no
Gotcha. Oh,
accent, according to
you're not
corporate
standing on
America.
business. You're standing on professionalism.
Always.
Gotcha. I should be standing there too. I'm right
I
next
just
to you.
saw this clip of the Nikki. She's like speaking and she's looking a little. She's like, yeah, 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 yeah. And guess what, bitch? Yeah, okay. She does look a little spatch. She might have had some coke, y'all.
That's what
She
people
might
are
have had a little
saying. This
coke.
is
She might have mixed it
coke.
with a little Molly, had a few
Yeah.
shots. This is what that looking for
Yeah.
me. Is that excusing her behavior? No. But as a
Mm-mm-mm.
former party boy, I can see the signs. Okay. We'll just leave
Yeah,
that at
she
that.
definitely doing some stuff. But on a different tip, kind of flipping things a little bit. Another one of the big things that was in the news, at least on my timeline this month, was those aliens. Did you hear about this? The aliens in
Child.
Miami.
Yeah. That
Come
one
on.
is a little bit perplexing. That
So
situation.
let's tell the people what happened just in case they didn't hear about it or know about it. But this is probably what the first week of January, I think there was so many police called out, like probably even 100 or so police cars that got called out, and they responded to something that happened at one of the malls in Miami. Um, you know, people who were actually there say that they saw beings. Like there was a lot of first person accounts that said that they saw very tall beings that were
Mm-hmm.
grayish. They weren't talking. They were kind of like phasing in and out, within the crowds. And um, kind of like they weren't hostile at all, but of course if you see something that you're unfamiliar with, you're going to be afraid, you're going to be running. The
Yeah.
police had shut down the airport, there was no flights going out. They shut off all the police scanners. There was a lot of very weird things happening that day. So police eventually come out and say that it was teenagers that were setting off, I think, like fireworks within the mall. But the people that were actually there say that they saw some beings. So it was kind of crazy. And I feel like the first kind of like mass incident probably that we've had more than just one person or two people saying that they saw beings. It's like crowds and crowds and hundreds of people. I've seen so many different videos from people saying, no, we really saw something. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on that? What do you feel like could have happened? Do you feel like it's feasible that they really did see some type of aliens there?
Well, I I said it was perplexing because I definitely feel like they could have seen aliens. If you're not familiar with the podcast or just me, I am pro alien. Like I do believe ETs exist. Actually, I
Yeah.
know they are. Like it's just a simple thing as seeing the sun. Like it's just a part of our world,
Mm,
but not for everybody. But in my opinion, that's how I walk through this world, right?
yeah.
So I definitely think they could have seen some ETs. However, what's a little I don't know, fishy, I guess, about the whole story is I was looking at a lot of people's accounts or a lot of people's
Hmm.
like personal witnesses, and they were all saying a bunch of different things. Like some were saying they were dark, some were saying they were translucent, some were saying they were
Hmm.
tall, some
Yeah.
were saying they were kind of tall, kind of huge, thick.
Hmm.
Like everybody was giving different vibes. So that was like my first
Mm.
red flag. I was like, why are they all giving various
Different account. Yeah.
situations? Then a lot of them, like in the videos, I don't know if you were looking at their body language, but a lot of them were going like, and
They were
girl, like giving like the I'm lying body language.
really.
Not that that means anything. That's just for
Yeah.
me analyzing or giving more credit to what I'm saying.
Mm.
So it could be yay or nay, basically on that
Okay.
point. But my issue was I also did some research around Miami in that mall and the
Mm-hmm.
news. And if
Mm-hmm.
you, I have a link that actually has, I think it's either ABC or CNBC. But anyway, they have a story that was done exactly a year prior to that event in 2023 that
Mm-hmm.
had the same headline: teenagers fighting in the mall with fireworks.
Really?
And it's on their YouTube, on the official news people, ABC or CNBC, one of them motherfuckers. It's on their news pages.
ABC, NBC, CBC, ABC.
Liars, basically. They're all liars. But anyway, that's what
Yeah.
they have the exact same story with the same headline,
Mm.
same mall from a year ago on their YouTube that was already posted. So only thing that's different about this particular event is they added some ET hype and they got a lot more witnesses
Yeah.
and it kind of went viral where the other one didn't, the one from before. So that's what
That
gives me very much like red flag confusion about this whole thing. Like,
right. That's confusing. And a part of me is like, any chance that they just put the wrong date on there? Like, is it confirmed that it really is a year old?
yes. And let me, these mass medias, these news network stations, they rinse and repeat the same shit.
Yeah,
You
definitely have
know,
seen that. Yeah.
I can't say there wasn't an ET there. I wasn't there. But
Right.
what I do know is these news stations are some lying ass motherfuckers.
They are. What do you feel like? Because I think what's interesting to me is I feel like the response was a little heavy for
Y-
what they say that it is. You know what I mean? Like, why have so many people there? Why turn off police scanners? Why? And then I thought it was interesting too, maybe one person kind of made up the ET thing and then they ran with it. Or are we seeing some type of crisis actors that came into play? We've both heard about Project Bluebeam. Could this have been a test of holographic images or something to that effect to kind of get people in a frenzy? Because Project Bluebeam has really been on the table for so long, and we've seen the breadcrumbs of, maybe they were going to try something soon with all the disclosures that were
Mhm.
happening. And it seemed like, talking about ETs or aliens had become normalized a lot more in the last few years. Could this
Right.
have been Project Bluebeam?
It might be an aspect. I think those are some great questions to start asking yourself or just
You're like
a
anybody else.
search. No, I feel like those are great questions in general, just the right
Right.
train of thought
Yeah, yeah.
because they're so relevant. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why is this happening now? Why,
Right.
if it's just teenagers with some fireworks, why do we need 100 cops? Like, are these
Exactly.
teenagers mutants? Like, what's going on?
True.
Are they maybe they have a whole X-Men squad tied up somewhere that they
I
released
I
and they're like, yo, we gotta
mean,
we gotta get them back under our service. Somehow they got out of our headquarters. I don't know.
the truth is stranger than fiction. That could be true because what I'm thinking about was it the first X-Men movie where they did go to were they at a mall? I think they were at the mall in
Yeah.
that first X-Men movie, and then stuff started happening, and you
Hey, I
might
was
be onto
I was just
something.
spitballing, but you never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
So that could be very, very true. So I don't know. I feel like if that was the case, we should be seeing or hearing about these said teenagers going to court, right? Because shouldn't they have been, something should have happened, something should have been
Yeah. Where's the pictures
charged.
of the kids? I mean, all the videos were suspect, like as far as like
All of them.
clear clarity goes. There we
I
go.
think clarity. Yeah,
Clarity, yeah. Sorry, y'all. I forget my English sometimes. You know what
that's
I mean?
okay.
But anyway, another thing I found interesting about like this whole story is I was looking at some of the witnesses like situations, and a lot of people were saying, or at least the ones that were posting their experience via text on
Mm-hmm.
Twitter or something, is they were saying how they're having issues recording. Like, oh, I couldn't record because
That's
my
what,
phone
yeah.
was glitching. I
Mm-hmm.
tried to open my phone and it randomly blew up. Some I mean dramatic, but
iPhone grew legs and walked away from me.
right. So my thought is the fact that there was so many policemen there makes me feel like the government's involved. And when the government's involved, there can be some high technology involved. So if the phones weren't working,
Mm-hmm.
my theory was maybe there was some high grade EMT
Mm-hmm.
going on that kind of wiped out the location service. So people weren't able to record this,
Mm-hmm.
whatever situation was going on. So if there was any legitimacy to the alien X-Men, whatever, something that most people don't need to know,
Yeah.
they could make sure that they covered their tracks by doing the EMT, which
Mm-hmm.
is if you don't know what an EMT is, basically just a device that wipes out the technology so it stops
The
functioning.
signals and
The
everything.
signal, the
Yeah.
service, the
Yeah.
power, all of that.
Well, it is really interesting how I feel like only a few news outlets were reporting on that. I feel like a lot more of the things that I saw and heard were from people that were supposedly there.
Mm,
And then the story went away.
right.
Poof.
It's as quick as
Cleaned up.
daylight. Yeah.
Cleaned it
But
up.
with that story, I will have my YouTube videos and resources that show that this
Mhm.
event also happened again last year, 2 years, in
Yeah. Oh,
2023.
yeah. Mhm.
So they be rinsing and repeating. So if anything, I just want people to start thinking about the whys of things. Because a lot of times when they do news, it's never to inform, it's always to shape.
Hmm.
They always want to shape a
Okay.
perception, shape an agenda, shape something. And
Speaking of, oh, yeah, I was going to
go
say,
ahead.
speaking of the whys, why is Gypsy Rose Blanchard a celebrity now? Do you know who that
I
is?
don't even know I was like, where's she going with some gypsy? Who?
Why is Gypsy Rose?
That a rapper?
No.
Oh, what is what?
Gypsy Rose Blanchard, you might have seen her life depicted in a show on Hulu called The Act, or any of the mini documentaries that she has released over the last few years. Gypsy Rose is a woman whose mother, for years and years and years during her childhood, but the mother made her believe that she was sick. I believe it's
Mm,
she's a
mm.
Gypsy's a what's it called? Munchausen syndrome victim, I guess. So her mom made her believe she was sick. She kept her doped up on different things. She made her go through ridiculous surgeries, lied to doctors, lied to family members so that they can get free things, better treatment, like all of that. But she basically was abused by her mother her whole life.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And
I see. And
yeah,
she served the 10 years in prison.
right. And
Sentenced to
that
10 years in
was,
prison. Okay.
yeah, she got sentenced to 10 years in prison for, kind of orchestrating her mother's murder. So she, in the end, met a guy online and
Mm.
started talking to this guy. He was definitely mentally unwell. And the guy came through because they were basically on that whole like, if my mother wasn't here, we could be together. Like you can free
Oh,
me. I'm a
child. Yeah.
I'm a princess in a castle. They were doing all this like
Prince
cosplay
she's
stuff.
Princess Fiona right now.
She thought she was Rapunzel. That's her favorite.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he came through and he killed the mom for her. She let him in the house and he killed her mom. And so they
Wow.
left. They got arrested. She was trying to act like she don't know what happened. And then yeah, the interviews are very interesting from the police station where they had arrested her initially because she was trying to act like my mom's dead. What do you mean? Like she was trying to play the whole. So it's interesting. She went to prison, she got out, and people love Gypsy Rose. They see her, I think, more so as a victim of someone who escaped, being a
Mm-hmm.
victim versus being like a criminal or doing something wrong. So the story is really, really interesting.
Mm.
I think it's really interesting. I definitely feel for her. I do feel like she was abused in her life. And sometimes like you could see it behind her eyes. I think there's a lot more to her than what she discloses. Like I think sometimes I feel like she kind of acts like she don't know stuff or because her mom,
Mm.
I mean, come on, like your mom basically was committing fraud and she was a con artist, right?
Yeah. So you pick up a
You're gonna
little
pick
bit here and
something
there.
up. You're gonna pick it up. You're gonna pick it up.
Hello.
Plus, just being in a mental stage, like her mom had her in a wheelchair for so long, and she would tell Gypsy, like, you pretend you can't walk. That girl knew she can walk. Gypsy knew she could walk. She was walking around the house at nighttime, going to the bathroom. Like she knew she could walk. So,
Wow. So there's a lot of different angles to the story, perhaps. I
oh,
mean,
endless angles.
side note though, at least she found her like a ride or die dude. Like,
Well,
I
not
wish I could
really.
find me somebody who could be like, "Hey, you need me to take them out?" Like
Uh,
not really. Like, don't do that. But if you have like that love, like that's passion, right? So like on a bright, I'm just trying to find a brighter note.
We might be teetering a little bit. We might be teetering on a little
Too
something.
far, too far.
I think that having a ride or ride type of like mentality is wonderful.
Ride or who?
Ride,
Ride or ride?
because ain't nobody dying.
Oh, okay. I was
Ride
like, let
or
me sure I
ride.
heard that right.
We either riding or we're riding. I don't know
Well, does
about
a die?
you.
That die don't mean like I'm involved. That means they would die. If they're the ride or die. That means they're gonna be the
Oh,
ones
so
who
you're
are.
the ride. They're the
Yeah,
die.
right. Like you got to get the
So you
order
wasn't
correct.
in it like that anyways, if you're just gonna
No,
be sacrificing people. Or you could say ride or fly. That's my other one.
ride or fly. Interesting. Where we
Yeah.
flying though?
Anywhere you want.
Okay,
We're
let's do it.
limitless.
Let's do it. Boy, here we come. But
But yeah, so I mean that's kind of cool, but honestly, like that dude that did actually physically kill her mother, he's still in prison and he's gonna be in there probably his whole life. She's out of prison. She's married to a completely separate guy. So
so they're not
I don't know.
together. Wow.
Personally, that guy probably never can get released because he probably gonna have a little vendetta out, you
For
know?
for her, yeah. I mean, so basically her Facebook relationship status is complicated.
She's technically she's married, but I don't trust the dude she married either. Why would you marry her? Why do people like y'all really was in love? I don't know. I feel like it probably is just another case of someone taking advantage of her, you know? And I feel like once you've been in a certain position your whole life, it's going to be difficult for you to see the people who are really genuinely loving you and caring about
Hmm.
you and people that want to use you. So it doesn't sit right with me that, you know, they were writing or whatever or pen pals or something like that. And then, you know what I mean? Like he became her
Yeah.
husband while she was in prison. Also, this girl obviously hasn't had many relationships. She's been under her mother's thumb. She's incredibly sheltered. Yeah, she's in her 30s,
Hmm.
but before she went into prison, her mother would tell her that she was a teenager. Turned out when she went in, I think she was like already young 20s or something like that when she went in. So mentally, I don't know really
What's going on? Like if she is
exactly.
super clever or is she just a great actress or what the
Or
case may be.
right, is she truly naive? Like what that's going to be like. But I do feel like it'll be interesting to see what she does in a year, 5 years, because a lot of people want to interview Gypsy Rose. I think that you remember Natalie Nunn? You know
Yeah,
Natalie Nunn from Bad
yeah,
Girls
girl.
Club?
Yeah. Oh, Natalie, not
No,
oh with the
Natalie with
with
the
the
chin.
with the chin. Okay, you said
Cause I mean that's what
I
you
mean,
know
she's
that's
pretty. She's
she
pretty
is.
with the chin, baby. And
So
Johnny
she
Bravo look good too. But anyway,
Natalie Nunn produces, I think she produces or creates to some in some capacity, but this show called Baddies that comes on Zeus Network. I've never watched it
okay.
myself,
I didn't heard it was Zeus Network, but
but they have
that's
a
a lot.
Zeus Network, and one of the popular shows on there is called Baddies. It's the same show that Krishan or something used to be on. But so people were kind of making the joke that Natalie Nunn should get Gypsy Rose to go on Baddies because she's literally, and I'm like, why is no one taking this seriously, like at all?
I just find it funny how like I don't know, certain it's like celebrities are getting like defamed and then we got criminals getting the fame. So it's like
Okay.
it's that should show something right there, you
Or
know.
you have both, like Young Thug. For some reason, he's been on trial for a minute now. He's still on
Hey,
trial.
and what was going on with that? Like why is this dude
From what I know, I think they're trying to get him on RICO charges or something like that, which I don't know everything about RICO at all, but I know that with this particular case, because they really don't seem like they have other evidence, they've been trying to use a lot of his songs against him. It's
Yeah, I
very weird.
saw that there is some clip that I had where they were like playing a clip of one of my favorite songs, Lifestyle.
Lifestyle. Yes. And they played the whole
They
video.
played the whole thing. I was just like, oh, I couldn't be in that courtroom. I would be kicked out for
How
twerking. You know what I mean?
How was nobody
Uh,
like I didn't even see anyone bobbing their head. I didn't see no one feeling it. Everyone was just trying to be
I was
buttoned up.
reading the comments and they were like, yo, the hardest thing is not trying to move to this music. And I was like, yeah, because when I was listening, I was like, hey, because
Yeah.
I remember dancing to it in the club back in the day,
Mhm.
back in 20, whatever.
That was
Teen.
the song. I feel
Yes.
like and then his I guess his attorneys were trying to come up with a like a reasoning behind some of the acronyms they use because the prosecution was trying to say that the acronyms are telling of like gang activity. They're trying to say that YSL is a gang. So his defense, let me see, because I think I saved something about this. I thought it was so funny. Um, maybe I need to look it up. But yeah, they were, what did they say? It was like, hold on, it comes up really fast. Young Thug. If you just look up Young Thug acronyms lists, it's hilarious.
Child. They made an acronym list for him just so the judge couldn't be like, that means this and that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
His okay, so this is what it was. So is he accidentally had posted and deleted the list with different acronyms, but swag, someone who admires God. Oh, yeah, YSL, Young Soldiers of the Lord.
Wow.
Slat, show love all the time. OPP, overly positive pal.
Oh, that's what OPP.
Slime,
Wow. Go ahead.
seeing Lord in me every day.
Wow.
Gang, going above and beyond normal guys. And there's
I
one
mean,
more.
what? Please
They
tell me.
said for a Glock, they said a Glock means guarding lives, overcoming challenges knowingly.
Get the out of here with the they get creativity points for sure. And I'm
Yeah.
loving the pettiness because hey, you gotta protect yourself against this court system for sure.
Yeah, you do. You do. So yeah, I think that that's been interesting. I think we're seeing a lot more of well-known folks having trials that are aired, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
they're actually airing all the details. You can watch this stuff. Mariah the scientist went because I guess they're together, which I didn't know. That's interesting. She was there in court, like trying to, basically tell them that, he's a good dude or something or support
Right,
him.
as a
But
witness. Okay.
right. So, but not only that, in the last few years, we've seen people like Johnny Depp in court and that whole trial. So I just think that it's so interesting because just like we were saying earlier, the way in which we've seen being a celebrity or elite or whatever it is shifting a lot where we're seeing that, just like you said, these are people. These are just people. They're not untouchable at all.
No. And like I was saying, what you do in the dark will come to light
Oh
at some
yeah.
point.
Oh yeah, it will. Hopefully he gets free though, because I've liked Young Thug for a while. So,
And this is
you
kind of
know,
a side topic. I mean, yeah, hopefully he does get free and make
what's
some
up?
more bangers. But
Exactly.
but oh my bad, y'all. But there was a on kind of that topic about like the rich and elite. There was a video that Vice did last year. It was
Hmm.
about this informer who has like a mask and one of those voices that change their voice so they can't
Hmm.
be detected. But it was a little quick video, 7 minutes, about like the secret sex parties of the mega rich.
Ooh.
And the reason why I bring it up or just have it in the resources section is because it kind of, again, kind of cements a little bit more of what Katt Williams was saying and
Hmm.
just kind of gives you just like another perspective on, hey, people do what they got to do to get
Yeah.
where they want to get and to also just maybe because that's their character.
Mm.
It's not always a sacrifice. Some people genuinely are into, sleeping with underage, sleeping with
Oh yeah.
forceful, a forceful sleep,
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm not
I
going
know
to
what
use
you
the
mean.
words, but y'all
Yeah,
know what I'm
yeah.
saying.
No, they really are. I think that that's going to be a good resource for people to look at. And if you want to see how Stanley Kubrick brought that whole idea to life, there's a movie called Eyes Wide Shut with Nicole Kidman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Older movie, very good, and I do feel like there's truth in that movie, so it might be a good one
Lots
for
of
folks
it.
to check out.
Yeah. Eyes wide shut. I like
Hmm.
that.
Yeah. All right. What else has been going on this year?
Yes, okay. So we kind of been talking about we've been in the courtroom for a little minute, but let's do one more courtroom situation
Okay, what's
that I've
up?
so I don't know if you remember, but like a few weeks ago, I sent you a video actually, guys, on IG about a
Hmm.
judge getting attacked during a
Yeah.
sentencing trial.
Yeah. Hmm.
Was it in Vegas? I think it was in Vegas, right? I don't know if anyone has seen it, but it'll be in our resources section. But there was a gentleman getting, I think he was pleading guilty or not guilty. I don't know.
I think he was
This
just getting sentencing. I
he
don't know if he pleaded guilty though.
I'm not sure what he pleaded, but he was just getting
Okay.
sentencing in the video. And I know prior to the actual sentencing, he was just trying to let the judge know, like, hey, I did my time in prison. I got a job now. I'm trying to make
I've
sure
changed.
I'm on the up and up, right? And he was pleading his situation, and she was
Hmm.
basically like, nah, fuck that. Like, you need more than community service, more than
Yeah.
probation. You need something different. And
Hmm.
she was about to say, XYZ years, and he just randomly bolts up and starts attacking her. I think he like pushes her from the video. It looks like he pushed her against the wall and tries to like punch her a little bit, but then everybody starts tackling him, and he got to defend, against the bailiffs and whatnot. So
Hmm.
he fully hit her up like he wanted to.
He, first of all, we need to just
What do you think
give
about
a
all
moment.
this?
We need to give a moment of silence for his ability to jump that high. How did, because you know how courts look, right?
Yeah, I mean,
He jumped clean
yeah.
over the like their desks or wherever they're sitting is usually kind of big. So he jumped clean over. He was able to run up to her. I sometimes when you have sentencing, they bring you like in front of the judge and you're standing there. So I'm assuming he was standing there and maybe not behind the other piece of the courtroom.
No, he was, and I'll put
So
that in
he
the
ran
resources.
up.
He was behind, like, where the defendant and the whoever
Okay.
sit. He was behind there. He jumped over there like he was in track, and then he jumped over the judge's situation too. So he did two hops.
Wow. And they
He must have
couldn't,
been,
and he must have been quick too, because they did not get him before he got over her desk. And so that's the thing. I think that this situation is crazy in so many different ways. One, you were just talking about how we're seeing a lot more that people are not taking certain things anymore. And I feel like we're going to see that come out. Like, a lot of times people, they just accept what's happening to them. They're like, okay, whatever. But this person was literally fighting for their life, like literally saying, now you ain't about to, whatever, even though he's going to get the sentencing. And now it's
yeah,
worse because you only proved her point. I mean,
right.
come on. This person was telling you they don't feel like you're reformed. You're trying to convince them that you're reformed. She was talking about you being violent, and then you prove her point by being violent. So I thought that that was interesting, but he wanted, you know what I mean? He wanted to fight. And I think a lot more people
Mm-hmm.
nowadays are saying no. Like a lot of us are saying, no, we're not going to take this. We're not going to stand for this. So I thought that that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I also thought it was interesting that the judge afterward, she was like, oh, I ain't never scared. We're gonna have another, we're gonna have another sesh,
He was bold. I'll give
bring
her
him
that.
back, and I'm gonna continue giving my sentencing.
And
So,
she did. I have that video as well. She was like, "We're gonna continue," and she continued like she experienced nothing.
yeah, exactly.
I we'll give her a however you feel about her and him. I'll give it to her for a second because
Yeah.
she came in professional, like
Yeah.
nothing happened. She's like, "Yeah, I know I got my ass whooped, but guess what? I'm still gonna sentence you. I'm gonna continue doing what I said before. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
change it. I'm not amending. I'm not gonna even add on more." Because they're gonna do another sentencing for what he did to her in
Oh
the
my
following week. So he
God.
has more time out. I think he's getting 2 years, and then he probably has to do like double that now from or more with attacking her.
Yeah. It's just
But she was a G, I'll tell you that. I mean,
she
they both were G's for different reason,
they
but
were.
I'm neutral on this stance because I don't know all the details.
Yeah, I don't know all the details either. I just know what I saw from the video you sent me and then some comments, but I just thought it was so interesting how she was in the middle of saying that and then he jumps and then all of those things. But they had homie tied up when he came back. He was tied
Yo,
up.
did you see when he came back for he looking like he came out the pound, like he had the mask covered his face and then they had him
Mm-hmm.
shackled up.
Mm-hmm. If y'all
I
seen
was
that
like,
movie, what Hannibal, the guy that used to eat people and stuff like
yeah,
that,
yeah,
that's what he looked like. He looked like
they had him.
Hannibal.
Now, all they needed to do was put some damn cuffs on them. They don't need all. They got to be so
Yeah.
theatrical to prove a point. And I get it, but I'm just like, no,
Maybe he
extra.
bit somebody and we don't know. I don't know.
He probably did. I mean, she looked like nothing happened to her, but maybe he bruised on her stomach or her leg or something. Maybe
I don't
she
know.
had.
Cause I know them when people ran over, it looked like it looked like it was a group fight after a second. Like it
Yeah.
looked like the bailiffs were trying to hit him and all. So I was like,
He was
what
like,
is
let me put a few
going
hits into the judge because she had made me work a few extra hours last week. So let me.
on?
Oh,
Right.
damn, he hit her in her neck. You know.
That's what it looked like. It definitely looked like
I was like, are
that.
we all jumping the judge? I had to watch it a few times for a minute. I was like, no, they can't be hitting her too.
Yeah, like we said, I feel like January has been crazy wild. So many things going on that were not what they say on my bingo card. But if this is the way we're opening up 2024, and then we also have an astrological shift too with Pluto leaving Capricorn and entering Aquarius. And so a part of me is curious if we will, a part of me is curious if we will maybe see more things that are a little bit shocking like this because of the age of Aquarius that we're moving into, which is so much more about giving the collective a voice. So I think we will see a lot more disclosures in a lot of way. But
When you were
yeah.
talking about the Pluto and the
Hmm.
astrological situations, what generally does that mean?
Hmm.
Like when I hear that, if I wasn't familiar, what does that like reflect into in everyday life?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, Pluto, I think it has the longest what do they call it when you go, I don't, orbit span or something
Orbits,
like
I just say
that.
orbit cycles, but
Orbit cycles. Okay, let's call it that. It has the longest orbit cycles. I think it's like maybe 250 or
oh, you mean like with from our galaxy because it's so
exactly because it's
far?
so far away, so it
Okay,
takes it longer to go around the sun,
right.
right? So Pluto it's been in Capricorn for quite a bit of time. And Capricorn, if anyone knows, Capricorn is kind of more like that masculine father figure energy. It's way more about structure, right? So we've
Okay.
seen a lot of structures being built, like even if you think about the United States, because we're thinking about Pluto in the sense of the United States' birth, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we're kind of humanizing the US. And so now this shift for the US especially is going to be more like it's more about the people and not about the structures that were built, right? We're more so focusing on now probably knocking those down, rebuilding. Like this is the age of Aquarius where you think more about utopias and things working for everybody and
Mm-hmm.
how can this better the world. We're kind of moving into more into this humanitarian time frame where before it was just like the politicians made the laws that we're going to do and we all follow and abide because that's the structure. Yeah,
Yeah.
Pluto coming through being an Aquarius says, "Nah, fuck that. We about to get it in." So
Hello.
it's definitely going to be a different time. I feel like the introduction of this year is really proving that to us, and we're only going to continue to see that much more.
I agree. Thank you for breaking that down because I got a lot of clarity. I know those who maybe not as familiar with the
Hmm.
astrologicals learned something too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Happy to do it. Well, while you're in this mood, maybe it's time to do a little bit of gratitude.
oh, yeah. Make it feel so good. All
Uh,
right. So, gratitude.
I can go first if you want.
Y'all heard that? We got that in quoting, right? Okay, yeah. Please
Yeah,
help me out while I think of something.
yeah, for sure. I'm happy to be back. I know that that's a little general, but I am happy to be back. I feel very clear So I'm happy for a lot more clarity around, or I guess I'm grateful for a lot more clarity within myself and like my mind and who I am, and not feeling held down by expectations. I waver in and out of that a little bit of times.
Don't we all?
Yeah, for sure. But I will say definitely this year I have not been living what I feel other people's expectations are. I'm really trying to approach this the most authentic way I can be. So that's what I'm grateful for, just having that clarity for myself.
I think that's a great way to move, making sure that you are filling your cup and choosing what you want to put in it,
Yeah,
not based off of what someone else. So I like that.
exactly. What about you? What are you feeling grateful for?
I am grateful to again also just be back voicing our opinions, our
Yeah.
perspective on some things. Having some video, I guess,
Whoop whoop.
for the people.
Only took a few years, but we made it. We're here.
Yeah, right. Maybe next time I'll be a little more glamorous, but it's
You're
just
glamorous every day, every
oh,
day. So
thank you, baby.
stop.
Thank
Those eyebrows, get out of here.
you. Ooh, I try. I try. But I'm
Yeah.
just I'm just feeling grateful to be back active, be back productive,
Yeah.
just to be moving. We got projects working, I'm working
Yeah.
out again,
Same. Yeah.
jobs, money. We're just moving forward. I feel like we're on this trajectory, and I'm just
Mm-hmm.
grateful to be on that because I feel like holidays I was like chilling, but now we
Mm-hmm.
back, we rolling again.
Good. Good. I
So,
love that. I'm happy to hear it. All right. You
but
have
yeah, yeah,
anything else to add?
um no, I just appreciate everyone hanging in with us, being patient with us in between the hiatuses and whatnot.
Mhm.
Whether we're here or not, just know you are loved. And what are you grateful for?
To the
Think about
audience.
that.
Yeah.
Think about
Okay.
that, babies.
All right, y'all. Well, we are so excited to be back. There's going to be some great episodes this year. This is just the first one, but if you want to get in contact with us, please check out the description. That's going to have the way that you can, reach out to either one of us. The other thing is going to be those fabulous resources that Stephen was mentioning. They're also going to be noted in our description.
Yeah. So until next time, lovelies, take care and feel free to reach out.
All right. We'll see you later.
Adios. Thanks for listening. If today's kickback nourished your soul, please be sure to subscribe, tell a friend, or leave a review.
And don't forget to check out the description to find out how to connect with us on social media.